Hi everyone, I'm back. It's about a month and a half later, and I'm here to report on my experience with the MeePlus SlimPad. So as a reminder, I chose the A5 size. This is in Butero leather, dark brown with a gold spine and the larger gold ring options. I wasn't sure how this leather would age over time. I was kind of interested to see. The website said that you can see potentially some signs of use. It's not as stiff as, say, an English bridal leather, but it hasn't changed very much, honestly. Maybe it's gotten a little bit shinier and smoother, and I've really put this notebook cover through the ringer. Besides the usual throwing around or piling things on top of it, I literally spilled an entire gigantic scalding carafe of coffee on this the other day. So a lot of my pages were ruined, but after I cleaned it up, the SlimPad looked great, and you wouldn't even know that it happened. So I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, so I have the wide pen loop or pen holder on the side, which is great for fountain pens. And although I can't really go into the pages very specifically because of the coffee incident and the nature of the work that I do, the paper quality has been amazing. I plan to use this fold-out blank insert to track some organizational info that I need to reference often, and I think that that's going to be really useful. Then we get into my to-do area, so I have the little to-do list insert from MeePlus, as well as the daily planner insert, and that's really helpful. I use these vinyl dividers not just to divide sections, but also as dashboards, so I'll often put a sticky note or something else onto the divider to remind me about something. And then I just get into some notes pages and standing meetings, and then the monthly planner, which has been great for tracking progress on projects. I have a little zipper case and then a project planner from Plotter, and that is the extent of my book. So all in all, this has been the perfect solution for my work needs. It's like my work brain, and keeping my scheduling and my notes and my planner for work together in one system has been the perfect solution for me. And it's really the extra ring space and this beautiful leather that has allowed me to do that. So I highly, highly recommend, and I love it. Hi everybody, welcome back to Fountain Pen Deluxe. Today I wanted to do a quick unboxing. I think I might package this into a future video, but if you watched my mid-year Techo Kaigi, I was talking about how I used a Plotter A5 Shiranami for my work notes. I currently have two plotters, the A5 Shiranami and the Bible-size Licio leather. In my Techo Kaigi, I was complaining a little bit about how soft this leather is compared to the Licio leather of the Bible size, and how it just sort of bothered me that when I tried to put the band on, the leather will buckle, and I wasn't sure if as the wax gets worked into the leather, it will become firmer or not. But I was considering purchasing an A5 plotter in the Licio leather or the Pueblo leather so that it was more sturdy. And then I started seeing all these videos popping up about MeePlus, which is an alternative to Plotter. They have different inserts and different leather options and binding options and ring color options. So it kind of piqued my interest, and I started looking into MeePlus for an A5 option. And so I actually reached out to MeePlus and asked if they would be kind enough to send me an A5 to review, even though I am a smaller creator. And I was pleasantly surprised when they said yes. And I truly appreciate the opportunity and the fact that they are reaching out to smaller creators to give them this opportunity to use their product and review it, especially since I really do enjoy using a slimmer ring system and had already planned to use one for the future, but was not 100% satisfied with the current A5 plotter that I have. So the package just arrived today, and I'm really excited to open it. And then I'm going to spend some time using it and getting to know the notebook and the inserts, and then I will report back. But I have not looked inside the box yet. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so they sent a ton of stuff. It's just so awesome and kind of them. So let's see what is in here and which notebook I chose. So we'll start with that before we get into the inserts. So they have, I think, 4 different types of leather options. They have a Pueblo, an English bridle, I think they call it like London Fog. It's a waxed version, kind of like the Shiranami. The one that I got, which is sort of similar to the Licia leather, like a smooth, firmer leather. But let's take a look here. So here we go, a really nice box. So I chose, ooh, yep. I chose this color with gold rings. This is their chestnut brown color. It's beautiful, so smooth. Oh my gosh, great hand feel. I can definitely tell it's firmer than my Shiranami, probably similar to my Licia leather. So that's perfect, exactly what I wanted. If I put a band on this, it definitely would not buckle. So here we go. Let's take a look. I chose a gold spine, and there's nothing on the spine, no writing and no sharp edges. The Plotter does have sharp edges. It goes right to the edge of the spine. The MeePlus does not go right to the edge, which is nice because I feel like you won't kind of catch yourself there because this is pretty sharp. And then here we have, there's the Plotter. You can see the Plotter logo versus the MeePlus. Another great thing about the MeePlus is that they have the option for slightly larger rings, which I chose because the rings on the Plotter were just a little bit small. So here you can see the comparison of the rings. This is 16 millimeters, this is 13 millimeters. And then Plotter stopped offering gold rings as an option, which I know a lot of people were upset about. So this one has silver, as does my Licia leather, which has a rose gold spine. One other thing that I noticed when I first opened my first Plotter I purchased, the Licia, is that I could see the glue in between the spine and this metal. And I was wondering, like, is that normal? But you cannot see that on the MeePlus at all. It's very, very clean, which is awesome. These are Krauss rings, and that means that they're great quality. And the inside is unfinished leather, just like Plotter. Very, very similar to Plotter, just more options for leather types and ring color and ring size and inserts. So in my Techo Kaigi, I talked about how I typically like to use the grid paper that Plotter offers, and I really enjoy it for fountain pens. I also have their to-do list. And I have also tried their lined paper. Then they also came out with a limited edition blue quadrant paper. But my understanding is MeePlus has a lot of different options, and they have thicker paper and they have thinner paper that you can choose from. So let's see what we have here. First, we have the lifter for the rings to make sure that the rings don't peek out too much as you're using it. You can see that there. Although I do like when you can feel the rings a little bit, but this is even with a lifter in here. So if you don't have the lifter, your rings will show even more. You can see here on the Shiranami, the darker sections where the rings are starting to show through. Let's put that on here. Matching brown leather, and it does say MeePlus right on the edge. So it goes like that, and that will just protect the leather from the ring marks. You can see it's already doing that, so that's great. Oh, awesome. I asked for a lifter with the large pen holder. So let's take a look at how this will work. This has a leather pen holder. Plotter also has a leather holder. This one you can get in 2 different sizes, small and large. So the Plotter currently only comes in 1 size. So if you wanted to use a vanishing point, it will fit in the Plotter after you kind of stretch it out a little bit. Now let's see if that will fit in this large diameter. It slides right in, and you can use all different sizes of pens because you can just hold it with the clip. Even if you didn't have a clip, it's very, very sturdy. You can even put your clip inside. So this is the large pen holder with the closing band. So let's try this in the MeePlus binder and see what it's like when you put the band on. You can see that it's not buckling at all. Yeah. That's amazing, amazing. I already know this is going to work out so well because of the larger rings and the firmer leather. It's already just so enjoyable. It smells so nice. Oh, it smells really, really nice. I was just finding, and I think a lot of people do, that the whole point of Plotter is that you're supposed to be able to fit 80 pages in these rings because it's supposed to be information that's top of mind. And I do have an archive book that I've started for my Plotter pages right here. I have my meetings on the top, my notes in here, but I need more information than 80 pages. It's just not enough, and the rings get full really quickly. So I think I'm really going to enjoy having the larger rings in here. So let's look at the rest of the inserts. Look at all these inserts that they sent me. Crazy. I can already see grid, which is awesome. I asked for A5 inserts, but then I also said that sometimes I like to use slimmer inserts like this to kind of stand out for my to-do list. So they sent me these, which is great. But let's see what we have here. So we have grid paper, and this is a really nice kind of white color, which is what I typically prefer. The Plotter paper is definitely a more cream colored paper. So you can see that this is a little bit whiter, but not a stark white, that's definitely my preference, kind of like Hobonichi in a way. And let's just take a page out. Oh yeah, it's super thin. This is like 3 pages right here. 4 pages. So look at this. The Plotter paper is thin, but not as thin as the MeePlus paper. Definitely going to have to do a paper test, but I love the way this feels. It's really, really smooth, and I love the simple grid. This is compared to Plotter. It has a much larger grid, which I prefer. This looks like a grid similar to Hobonichi, so I'll be able to write in the grid versus this one where I have to take up multiple squares so I don't end up writing in the grid. So we have the grid paper. Next up, we have a daily planner paper. So you can write your schedule and then your priorities and your to-dos. Let's see. This paper is thicker than the grid. So just kind of interesting. You know, I love paper. It's creamier, more cream color, and it's thicker, which makes sense because you're going to be writing on both sides, which I assume you will as well on this paper, but maybe not as necessary when you have 2 sides printed on 1 page. So we have the daily schedule. Next up we have, oh, this must be like their project planner. Let's take one out here. Oh wait, no. This is, well, I think you could use it as a project planner, but this is one of their papers that pulls out. So if you have a project that you're working on, or you wanted to draw out a month or a year or a habit tracker, that's an option. So this is Mindjoy paper, which is the same as the daily planner. So it's thicker and more of a cream color than the white thin grid paper. And then we have monthly plan goals, and it looks like these also fold out. So let's see. Here is this. It's a monthly plan, and this does pull out. So you have your whole month, your goals on the side, a little space for memo notes, and then the back of it is all grid. That is so cool. Oh my gosh, I love this. I can put all of my standing meetings in here and any other notes that I want to of, times that I worked on a project or deadlines that are coming up. That's great. And then we have the little to-dos. Looks like this is by this Krenna paper, which is the same name that was printed on the thinner grid paper right here. You can see Krenna. So these are thinner papers, and these are little to-do lists, front and back. I love that. This is awesome. So these are the inserts that I got. I told Laura, who is behind MeePlus, that I needed paper to take notes. I wanted to be able to do some work planning in my notebook, and then I wanted some of the fold out pages because I thought that those were really cool and I could use those for lots of different purposes. And then I asked for some thinner to-do lists that I could pop in. So this must be from a slim, maybe a slim personal size. I'm trying to see where I would hook that. I guess I would put it right there. Okay, let's do a paper test. I'm so curious. And then I'm gonna get this all loaded up with my papers. She also sent me this masking tape of dots, little dots. I love dots, who doesn't? You can use these to mark some to-dos or, you know, some other things to make them stand out. Oh, whoops, I got it from the wrong area. This is the first one right here. You could like color code depending on what you're doing, just like that. So let's try out the paper. Remove this to the side, bring this here. I have the fountain pens that I've been using the most right here. Of course, we're going to start off with my trusty vanishing point. I love vanishing points, and I find that I reach for them a lot when I'm doing work notes because they're so convenient to click open and closed. And let's see. First of all, the grid is the perfect size. The paper feels really nice and smooth to write on, and it looks great on the back. A little bit of ghosting, no bleed through. I wonder what paper this is. This feels so nice. Let's get a little bit crazier here. How about my platinum fine point with Andurilium? Feels great, and I can see the ink properties coming through really nicely. There's some shading in the ink and no bleed through. Impressive, very impressive. Okay, let's try, this is a medium platinum. Feels great, makes the ink look great, and no bleed through with the medium. What other pens do I have here? I have a Sailor medium fine with a darker ink. Looks great, no bleed through. Awesome. All right, let's get one of our broader vanishing point. My vanishing point with a broad nib. I can smell that this has Kobe in it. I think Myodani Cosmos, and that's putting down a fair amount of ink. Still no bleed through. You can see here the ink properties showing up really nicely. I have my Pilot Custom. I can never remember which custom this is, but this has a soft, fine nib. The paper is just so smooth. It feels amazing. I don't know how many times I've said that, but it really does. No bleed through. I need to know what paper this is. Here is a Atelier Lusso. This pen is gorgeous. I feel like this is a perfect fall pen. And this has, this is extra fine, but it has, I think, Pilot Iroshizuku Sungyo in it, which is pretty dark. Yep. Perfect. I know when I hold it up like this, it looks like there's bleed through, but there isn't. That's just from the light. What about my platinum with the coarse nib? This puts down so much ink. I love this grid size. And then we'll be able to see if you can see the chromo shading, because this has Sailor Urameku in it. And I can already see that you can, oh my gosh, look at that. You can see the pink coming through in the ink. No bleed through. Incredible, incredible. Where is my pen that has the Solferino in it that bleeds through everything? Here is a Pilot with a Falcon nib, so a flex nib that puts down a lot of ink. I cannot get over this, the Urameku. It's, I don't even know if you can see all of the colors that are coming out of the ink. Look at that. That is incredible. No bleed through with the Falcon, and you can see already there's still ink on it. This paper is truly incredible. It gets my seal of approval for sure. I need to get more of this. Okay, so yeah, no bleed through with a coarse, no bleed through with a flex nib. This paper is so thin, so thin. Amazing, truly amazing. So that's this is the Krenna, the paper A5 from MeePlus, and this is their thin paper. Now let's try some of their thicker papers. Oh, you know what, really quickly, I'm assuming that this is going to be the same as this. It does feel the same, but let's just do a quick test. I won't do all of them. Let me try the platinum with the coarse nib since that one looked amazing. Okay, here's the platinum with the coarse nib. I can see that the ink is drying, no bleed through. And I can see that, yeah, it has the beautiful color variation that it does on the other paper. You'll see it more as it dries, but great, 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 great. All right, let's try my vanishing point because that's what I prefer to use most of the time. And these boxes are big enough that you could write, depending on how big you write, you could write 2 lines in here. Yeah, looks great. So, huge success with the MeePlus thin paper. I think other companies should find out what they're using because it's really good. And what I imagined the Tomoe River paper was like before they switched to the new machines. I mean, the fact that there's no bleed through with that flex nib, I can't tell you, it puts down so much ink. All right, let's try some of the thicker papers and see how the thick paper does. Here is the thicker paper. So we have the daily planner and the monthly plan. So I think we'll do the daily planner, and let's start with the vanishing point. Extra fine nib, very smooth. You can tell right away that there's not going to be any feathering, and you're not even going to be able to see anything on the back, of course. Excellent. Let's see the platinum with the coarse nib. It feels great to write on it. No feathering, no bleed through, and you can see the beautiful ink properties starting to come through with the color change as it dries. So we'll check back on that one, but that is a go. Let's try the broad vanishing point. Yep, it feels nice. Ink looks great. No bleed through. And if this was against another page, you wouldn't see any ink. I'm really impressed. And I'm not just saying that because these were gifted to me. I would tell you the truth. I always do. And that's why I was a little bit stressed with the paper test when I had not the results I expected with the sterling ink. Let's see, is this the, see, this is why people leave their stickers on their pilots. I would not be able to tell the difference without this FA sticker on here. So here we go. This is the flex nib. So the pilot custom with the FA. I just love how it feels on this paper. You just want to write on it and not stop. It's really so nice. Okay, so this is what we have here. You can see that there's no feathering. The ink properties look awesome, and there's no bleed through. And on this thicker paper, barely any ghosting. Just really, really impressed with the paper quality, which is a big deal to me because I really enjoy using fountain pens, and as you know, I say life is too short for bad paper. So this is awesome, and I love that they have different options than just grid or lined or plain, because I don't use plain and I typically don't use lined. I really prefer grid, and the grid is the perfect size of grid. I know that Plotter has some, I think it's like a weekly horizontal planner, but this is usually what I would go for. When I was in discs, this is very similar to what I was using. I'm excited. I love the idea of these pull-out pages. It's genius because it saves you room and you can see everything all at once. So I love that idea. I bet you that Plotter comes out with something similar at some point. And then the blank paper, it's like you have so many options. If you bullet journal, or if you want to create your own goal tracker, or sometimes I even find myself doodling. I'll have like a dedicated page in my Plotter. I don't know if I took it out since I was running out of room, but I have a dedicated page that I just titled Doodle Page, because sometimes I'm sitting in a meeting and I just get bored. I think I did take it out. I just get bored and I want to play around with my pens. So anyway, that would be nice. You could just have a doodle page and you could pull it out and doodle to your heart's content. Okay, so let's get the notebook set up for being a work planner, and then I'll be able to start using it today, actually. So this is what I have right now. I have my tabs at the top, and I have a few dividers, and then I tabbed a few pages that were important to me. And then I do have a project manager that Plotter offers where you can stick pages for a specific project. And so since this is an A5 size, all of these will be able to go into the A5 MeePlus. So let's do that now. Okay, I'm thinking that I'll do some of the daily planner pages, which is nice when you want to brain dump or, you know, plan a day that maybe is a little bit more stressful than you expected. Then I'm going to do in the front the calendar with the monthly goals. And then I'm going to put a couple of these little to-do sheets here. I think I better cut the bottom off a tiny bit. Yeah, it's just a little bit longer. I have my handy dandy trimmer here. I'm just going to take off that little bit on the bottom. Let's try this now. Perfect. Just like that. Perfect. So now I have a to-do sheet right in the front. Sometimes I like to capture to-dos and then transfer them to maybe the monthly goal plan or to a specific day. And then in the back, I will put my notes pages. Okay, and then I'm going to have this in the back. I'm going to work on some ideas for this one. I'll also have this in the back in case I want to doodle on this. Perfect. I'm going to add some more paper in the back for notes. I feel like my life is all about notes. And I think that I will also move some of my tabs and my project planner from my plotter. So let's take this. You can see as soon as I open it, all this paper wants to fall out because it's so stuffed full, which is why I was excited to get larger rings, because all of this information is information that I need. I have a lot of projects going on, a lot of meetings, and I could not get rid of anything else when I did my most recent archive. That's why I needed more rings, bigger rings. Okay. Project manager. Look how much room I still have left. All right, then I think I will transfer some of my notes from my meetings. Let's just see. I bet all of this, which is taking up basically my entire plotter, can go directly into the MeePlus. So let's try that out. Yep, with room to spare. And I really think that that's reasonable. That's not too much for a workbook. I really, really like it a lot. And then of course, no buckling. Look how beautiful that is. And then I'll slip my vanishing point in here, which is what I usually use. And I'm not even going to put the clip, just go like that. Nice and secure. There you go. So I'm going to use this for the next 30 days or so, and I will report back. But I couldn't be more happy with this, and in the future, I'll definitely be purchasing more from MeePlus. I want to order more of the graph paper, and I also want to order a smaller pocket size that I can carry around with me. I know that they have one that has like a card insert, so you can use it for a wallet or something like that. And since they have different leathers, you can choose one that's more sturdy or rugged so that it can get thrown around in your purse and not get dinged up. But everything from the leather quality to the paper quality to the lifter, everything is really, really nice. I like having matching gold rings and matching gold spine. So there you go. That is the MeePlus. So the MeePlus leather binder that I chose is the dark brown Botero leather A5. It has a really smooth hand feel to it. You can't really feel any texture at all. Compared to my two plotters that both have a texture. I'm trying to think how to describe this. It reminds me of my Hobonichi Taut notebook that I purchased last year. Almost like it already has a patina. And one of the things that's noted on the website is that it might show scratches faster than, say, the Pueblo or the English bridal leather, but I don't really throw my work notebook around. I just kind of keep it on a bookshelf by my desk, and I grab it when I need to make notes. So I don't think it'll get too scratched up, but even if it does, I think that it will age really, really beautifully. It looks like the pen holder is actually in Pueblo. One other thing that I wanted to note is the band. So compared to Plotter's bands, the lifter with the pen band comes in further, which is nice because with the Plotter, the issue is that it's right near the edge, so it can easily kind of slip off constantly. And Plotter does offer corners that they put on at special events when they're at like a pen show or something like that, but those are hard to get to. You can see how close it is here to the edge. I appreciate the fact that the MeePlus band goes in further, so it gives you more room for your band to rest on the book. You can see the difference there. This is the lifter with band and with the pen holder. This pen holder again is in wide, and it's holding a vanishing point right now very firmly. You could also have the clip on the outside. Let's see, let's try a platinum. Platinum 3776 Century. So even if you didn't have the clip, it fits really firmly, but you can put the clip on the outside like that, and it fits really nicely and securely. Or even if you had a much thinner pen, say like this, you can see it slips through pretty easily. But as long as your pen has a clip, you can use the wide for any pen. So it just depends on what pens you tend to use, whether they're a larger circumference or a thinner circumference. I usually use vanishing points, or I like Pro Gear standards. So I chose the wide, and that's going to work out great for me. Here's a Pilot Elite, which is, I think, slimmer than, say, a vanishing point. So yeah, that would slip in, and it's obviously also a short pen, so you would want to use the clip. But see, even though it would slip through, as long as the clip is there, it's in there, it's not moving at all. So I would recommend the wide. I think most pens would fit in the wide. Here is a Simply Gilded gel pen, and I guess that would slip through, but again, with the clip, it's not going anywhere. And then I'm trying to think of any differences, you know, in terms of the corners. MeePlus has slightly rounded corners, which I like. I think the Plotter corners might be a little bit more rounded, but not by much. Let's take a look here. A little bit more. And then again, the spine, it's very sharp on the Plotter, and it's definitely more rounded off on the MeePlus. That does not hurt. You can see there that it's much more square and sharp compared to MeePlus. It's definitely rounded. I think just very thoughtful design choices when it comes to the MeePlus that I appreciate. Let's see, here we have this is the band with lifter for Plotter, and here we have a Pilot. Yeah, so I guess that fits in. Let's try the vanishing point. Yeah, vanishing point fits in. So I would say if you have the Plotter pen loop, the MeePlus wide pen loop is comparable in size. And again, you can see here the glue on my Plotter, which I thought was really strange when I first got it. It's not as noticeable on the Shiranami, maybe because of the light color. You can kind of see it right there. When I look at the MeePlus, that was one of the first things I looked at. I don't know why. It's just like something that I noticed on Plotter that surprised me, but you can see no glue on the MeePlus. And let's see if we can see the paper in the light now, since we've got some sunlight here. The beautiful ink properties on the MeePlus paper. Look at the Platinum 3776 on the bottom. I just can't get over that. It's in person, it's really something else. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Here we go. Here's the daily planner sheet in the sun. And yeah, you can see that the ink looks amazing on this as well. without any bleed through whatsoever, even with broads and a double broad, because that's what this platinum is. A+. All right, well, that is it for me today. Thank you again, MeePlus, for this beautiful leather binder. Very impressed with quality design elements and all of the options they have in different leather types, leather colors, and insert options. Definitely one to check out for sure.